What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another player rating show here on Back of the Net. Off the back of a disappointing one, really, a 2-2 draw at Rotherham after a few wins on the bounce. Weren't up to the levels, didn't play to the levels that we have been recently, but we managed to grind out the point. It's one of them. Bad day at the office, but credit to Rotherham, made it difficult for us, and I think a lot of teams are set up that way against us, so it's important that we got out there with a point, but we move on. Certainly missed Cook and Arnaut Danjuma, who were left out with knocks. But yeah, we'll see what happens anyway. Got a guest on me today, as some of you may recognise. It's Alex Hall, who, as well as being a football fan, bit of a singer-songwriter, old Alex Hall. So if you haven't already, we'll be putting the links in and stuff. Got to check out some of his stuff. Won't Bow Out is my personal favourite. Check that out. How you doing, Alex? You enjoyed the game, mate?
Yeah, I sort of did. I mean, sort of, like you said, a bit about the result, but there was something nice about a rainy, miserable day in Yorkshire. It sort of brought me back to the League One days a bit, sort of scrapping it out in a tense atmosphere like that. So I sort of did enjoy it secretly a bit, but yeah, like you, a bit subdued with the result.
Yeah, no, I'm probably the same as you, mate. Like I say, you always want to win the games, but when you don't play that well, it's kind of nice that you think we can do that ugly side and get the point. Do you know what I mean? Because we're a good footballing side, but sometimes when it's like that, at least we could just grind something out and get away with it, But yeah, it is what it is. We'll get into the player ratings and probably, we'll see what you say, probably my man of the match. Again, one of them games where we're having all the ball, but when he's called upon, Begovic, he looks like a hell of a player, doesn't he, at the moment? What did you think of his performance?
I mean, if you'd have, if that was Ramsdale for that worldie of a save, you'd all been out your seats. I mean, it was Ramsdale-esque, wasn't it? The way he got off the ground. I mean, he's sort of a cumbersome-looking guy, but brilliant saves. He did 2 worldie saves, didn't he? The second half, that spectacular scissor kick. I think it was offside anyway. But Begovic, we keep saying it every week. He's like a new sign-in, and he proved his worth again today, and he was spot on. Okay, we conceded 2 goals, so can't give him a worldie mark, but I've given him an 8 this week.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, I think like you say, it was probably like a perfect performance, but because of the 2 goals conceded, probably drops him down from maybe getting a 9. But like you say, everyone keeps saying it does feel a bit like a new signing, and nothing against Rambo, but we ain't missing him because Begovic is performing well, and I personally wouldn't swap Begovic for another goalkeeper in the division. That's for sure.
Just a bit off topic. Did that second goal? Did it come off smudge slightly?
Yeah, I feel like it probably took a little bit of a deflection, which probably wrong-footed Begovic a little bit. Difficult one because Smithy's trying to block him, and it looks like it's a bit of a fluky goal in there, but. I'm not sure on the whole. I mean, Smithy's obviously back in at right back. I don't know if you've just seen Tyndall's just said that Stacey's going to be out for a while, looking about 8 weeks. So
I heard,
going to be a big blow. I mean, I know they thought it could be even worse than that. So hopefully he'll be back soon because he's been good. But in terms of Smithy coming at right back, normally pretty consistent. What did you make of Smithy's performance today?
Yeah, I mean, we were sort of saying it in the 3-for-all a bit. Where's that? Last 20-yard smudge, that would overlap the fullback. I mean, we've seen it with Stacey a lot this year, but Smudge, I don't know. I don't know if it's the instructions he's been told. I know we're playing away, and we're not going to probably bomb on as much as we normally would at home with fullbacks, but we're lacking that width a bit. And I think Smudge he's not playing with confidence, I don't think, and I think it is affecting his performances consistently. And I think I've given him a 5 this week, but
yeah, I can't disagree with you too much, mate. I think he's been out he's had a few knocks and things like that. I'm hoping, obviously with Stacey being out for a bit as well, I'm hoping the more he plays, gets back into his rhythm a bit, because we know what Smithy can do, but yeah, he hasn't quite at the levels yet. In terms of the centre halves, first one's Chris Mepham, and I think going back along, obviously come on at half time against Reading, then he started against Forest, and I actually think he's probably gone under the radar a bit because we've looked better with him there. I think he brings the ball out well. I quite like Meps, and he probably don't get the credit he deserves. But how do you think he played today? Because obviously they were quite a direct side, so there's a lot of balls for him to deal with.
Yeah, he seemed the busier of the two out of him and Cook. Like you say, he's more of a modern sort of centre half, isn't he? He comes out with the ball. He reminds me a bit like Harry Maguire. He's not afraid to sort of push that 10, 15 yards before he finds a pass. And he did that, to his credit, he did it a few times today. He did a nice curled ball, I think, last 10 minutes or so. I think it went into the feet of Solanke. He was guilty of overdoing that a bit, and I think he did lose the ball a bit. But I think he did all right. Again, the aerial threats we didn't deal with very well. So I've given him a high 6, but I'm keeping it in the 6 for him this week because I know he can do that a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that's fair, mate, to be honest. Like you say, I thought he was okay, but we did struggle a little bit from the crosses and we did concede 2 goals. So I think that's a fair point. And obviously his partner was the skipper, Steve Cook. Would you say similar kind of thoughts with his performance?
Yeah, I would. I'd give him a slightly lower 6 just because, he's leading that line at the back and there seemed to be a lack of communication for the 2 goals. Like, I didn't quite know where the positioning was on the first goal. I don't know who was to blame for the first goal. I think they all were because no one seemed to be marking anyone. When you look back on the replay, everyone's a yard behind the player. I don't know if they took it quick or something, but it didn't seem to. It didn't seem to see much. We didn't seem to see much communication there. So, as skipper, I think he needs to take a bit of the responsibility there. But he was solid as always. Steve Cook's been immense this year. We all know that. We didn't see any of those majestic Steve Cook-esque, crunching tackles and bullet headers that you love to see. But he did the job. So I'll give him a 6 again, but a slightly lower 6 for Cookie this week.
Yeah, I think you're bang on there, mate. Like you say, he's always reliable, but wasn't like outstanding performance, but still does his job. You can always rely on Cookie. Into left back, who's Lloyd Kelly, who's been playing there a little bit more recently. And I think you alluded to the first goal there. I've only seen it like as you have. I haven't looked back on it. I remember thinking from the ball in, I think it was his man that got ahead of him. I'm not 100% sure, but having watched it on there, I felt like he was on his heels a little bit. I'm not sure what you think. I'm still undecided on whether Lloyd Kelly looks comfortable at left back. What do you think?
Yeah, I prefer him centre half. It's the distribution thing that is frustrating me a bit. He just seems to. I don't think he needs to. I think he's got a quick enough brain. He's got quick enough feet to not think that much. Is it a confidence thing? Is he just prefer playing in the middle? But I feel Rico's been. We'll come on to Rico, I suppose. But I feel like Rico's been a bit hard done by because I prefer him as the natural left. But Lloyd, I don't think he had a great game today. If I was to be honest, he did give the ball away a bit too much, and he was just a bit slow. But he's steady and he can put a tackle in, and his positioning's good. I mean, that first goal, yeah, but in general, I'll give him a 5.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I think that's fair, and I think I agree with what you're saying there. It's a difficult one there because I think maybe Jason's in the same kind of thought process. I think that he's almost feels like in the Championship he's too good to not start, but then I think Mepham and Cook look a better partnership, and I'd agree with you. I think Rico's more of a natural left back, so it's then you can't fit him in. But you don't want to put square pegs in round holes, so it's a difficult one. But definitely going to be a big part of the squad going forward. And I think we'll still see more of him. In terms of the 3 in the middle, Jefferson Lerma, he keeps playing. I just keep thinking he's going to be rested with his internationals and plays every week. But I'm a big fan of Jeff. Got one nasty tackle today, I thought he done. But what did you make of Jeff on the O?
I think he got a bit frustrated, didn't he, with that tackle? I think that epitomised sort of his in-game frustration. But, I love having a South American in our team. I absolutely love it. You see it against us in the Premier League. I think it was like when Wanyama, when he was playing for Saints, he used to murder us, I think, the first 2 seasons he was playing. And now we've got one ourselves. I think Jeff's, he's getting better, Jeff, I think. Even though we dropped down a league, I still think he seems to just pick up still. But, he was a bit off the pace today. Did you see that one towards the end? He nearly lobbed the keeper from like 60 yards.
That would have been beautiful, yeah.
It was close, wasn't it? It wasn't far.
Yeah, that would look great.
I would have given him a 10 if that went.
Yes,
but,
yeah, definitely.
I think he was looking a bit leggy today, though. I think it's catching up with him a bit, the internationals. So he wasn't the worst out of the 3, but I'd give him a 6.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think with Jeff, he's raised the bar now as well. We know what we can get from him. So when he has that performance where, like you said then, he wasn't bad, he still put a shift in and done his job relatively well. But we know them heights he can hit. So that's probably in the back of our heads as well. But yeah, like you say, maybe it is catching up with him a little bit. Just looking for his pairing. Obviously, no Lewis today. one of the men in there was Dan Gosling, and with Gos, he could pop up with a goal. Unfortunately, not today. Always puts a shift in. Always think he's quite reliable without doing anything special. What did you make of Gosling coming back in?
Yeah, Gosling coming back in seems to be a good omen for us, because normally when he's out the team and he comes in, he's all guns blazing and he's proven himself and he gets himself around a bit. But I think he struggled today. I think he really struggled to create anything. He where's the Dan? He's normally, there's a few drives from him going forward, and he didn't get on the ball much at all. Really, I can't remember 2 or 3 key passes he probably did all game, and there were second balls that he was sort of off the pace with, and you could argue he's not been in the team, and that's why. But I was a bit frustrated with Dan today, to be honest. I'm going to keep him in the 5s, but just about.
Yeah, I think it was also a big statement from Jason, in the sense that we had to change it, but he went with Gosling as the man to kind of sacrifice to bring on an attacking player in Surridge, and because I probably thought it would be the next player we'd have come to, but it shows that he wasn't too, Gosling's one of them players you can rely on and normally just keep him in there and do a job. But yeah, I agree, he was below par today, and someone that gets a lot of criticism because he probably hasn't had a great start since he's ever come into the club, to be honest. Billing, almost surprised to see him start today. What did you make of Billing in there?
Yeah, like you say, surprised. But then, having said that, the amount of games coming up, etc., not surprised. But I went on the free for all, and there was a few unsavoury comments slightly about how he played, but I didn't think he did too bad today. I thought Gosling was a bit more rusty than Phil. I thought Phil actually first half he put on an all right shift. He did fade second half. There was a swivel in the box he did, and I think he just passed to a Rotherham player 5 yards out. But there was a few good key passes I noticed he did in the first half, and he does frustrate you with his swagger. And I think people might jump on his back a bit more because of his sort of demeanour, and I don't think that's sort of fair really at times, because if he if he had the sort of body language of someone like Gozza, like maybe people wouldn't get on his back a bit. But he didn't do great, but he did all right. He was a bit of a mixed bag, but I'm going to just about give him 6 today.
Okay, mate. Yeah, and I probably I appreciate that as well, in terms of that way he kind of swaggers, like you say, around the pitch. If he was doing like a Gosling and just running around a bit headless chicken, people would probably think more of him. I think probably I can't speak for all fans. I think the frustration is, like I say, he wasn't great today, but he definitely wasn't any worse than a Lloyd Kelly, for example. I think the problem is we've seen top performances from the likes of Lloyd Kelly. We've just never seen that from Bin. I think that's the frustrating thing. And today I felt that he hasn't been given many opportunities, and he's been given the opportunity from the start today. And I just really wanted to see him grab it a bit more. Do you know what I mean? He got 90 minutes today, and you think, could he have really gone, what, I'm going to prove to everyone? And that was a little bit disappointing for me. But I also agree with you that sometimes he can be used a bit scapegoaty because of the way he wanders around the pitch. In terms of from the right-hand side, Brooksy, who's been a bit of a magician this season. I mean, I done a little EFL show before this, and the Rotherham fan had the same when I'd done it before. They all just say they literally set up to just kind of watch out for Brooks, and they all say the same to me. They don't know how we've got him in the Championship. He is a bit of a magician. Probably didn't get on the ball as much as he would have liked today. Whether that was all Brooksy or we didn't find him enough, maybe a bit of both. But what did you think of Brooksy today?
Yeah, like you say, I think Rotherham tactically nailed us today. Like they knew how to wind us up. There was one time they had a Begovic in a headlock at one point, and I was noticing a few things off the ball that were happening. You only had to look to the left of where the ball was, and they were niggling at our ankles and everything. And all credit to them, they really sussed us out with a lot. I don't want to say too much because it'll give our flaws away as a team, but they were hitting the ball over midfield, looking for flick-ons, looking for second balls, and 80% of the time it worked. And the other tactic going to David Brooks now is that they double-teamed him all afternoon. And if it was Ian Wright doing an analysis now, you'd only have to see a few clips and see just 2 men on him. And at the start of the game, he did get a bit of space, but I think they were alert straight away to his, how good he is. And he became a bit non-existent, didn't he? The sort of last 20 minutes or so when we looked like we were pushing for a goal. It didn't look like it was going to come through Brooks. He's a quality player. He's the best player in the league. I think Craig said it last week. I don't know what mark to get Brooks, because it was such a sort of dichotomy of halves, wasn't it? It was like first half he was all right, and then it just sort of went downhill from there. I think I'll give him a 6.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the theme of it at the moment. Do you know what I mean? If we had 0.5s in there, it would maybe change things a little bit. But yeah, Brooksy, you kind of feel, was it all his fault, or was it?
No,
do you know what I mean? They double teamed him.
Yeah,
it was a difficult one. And I said to the Rotherham fan, I thought Mattock down the left was one of their best players. He was down that left side.
Yeah.
He was putting good balls, and he done a job on Brooksy. And I think Jason and the team are going to have to look at that, because I think opposition will be looking at the way Rotherham played today and think that might be a way of stopping Bournemouth. Being a bit direct, a bit nasty. So yeah, it might be something we have to look at a little bit. On the other side, Junior obviously had a great game last time out, a bit more central, but obviously was moved out to that left because of Arnie. Probably didn't get into the game as much as he would have liked, but put away his penalty as he always does. What did you think of June?
First half, I thought he was immense. Like he's when he's on fire and when he's confident and when he's not getting injured, he's up there with Brooks. He's fantastic. He did a brilliant step over first half, I think it was, to release Kelly, or I'm not too sure it was, maybe Dom. And, the penalty, how nonchalant was that? He just gave the keeper the eyes, like straight down the middle. He'd been blasted if he missed that, but he's going to score penalties. And I just thought everything that was going to happen creatively for us, I thought it was going to go through Junior. I thought first half, brilliant. And he got moved, didn't he, second half? He came into a bit of a deeper role, and he sort of became a bit lost again. But I thought he was definitely one of our best. I thought he was the best player on the pitch for us, actually. Not to say anyone was worthy of more than an 8 or 9, apart from Begovic, outfield player, I mean. I'm going to give him a high 7. I think that's fair. I'd like to give him an 8. If we'd have won the game, I'd have given him an 8. Yeah,
I think that's fair, mate. And I haven't really, I think because I thought Begovic was clearly our best player, I haven't really thought about who I would think our best outfield player was. And I probably agree with you. I mean, he took his penalty well, and you forget how well he started the game. I thought everything was coming through him in that first half. And to his credit, even though, like you said, he got lost a bit, he was asked to go out and play wing-back, wasn't he, in the second half. When we changed things, and that's to his credit. Last game he scores 2 goals playing in an advanced central area, then he gets asked to play out wide left and performs really well, then he gets asked to do a job at wing back, and I think credit to him, because he goes into their position and just does a job for the team. And if we could keep him fit, like you say, it's all about it's always been that with Junior, isn't it? As long as you keep him fit, you can rely on him. But just hope he don't get any injuries. Through the middle, buzzing for Dom to get on the score sheet again. Important for him to keep plugging away.
I think we both called it on Twitter before the game, Tom. We're the only people who called it.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, you're right. Actually, yeah, did say. I mean, I love. I don't know what you think, mate, but I just think he's probably been one of our best players this season. I love the way he leads the line. I love the shift he puts in. I love the way he connects things so cleverly. It's just, can he just nick a goal every other game? But if you can get that sort of ratio going, it'll be have a really good season. So yeah, what did you make of Dom's performance on the whole?
Yeah, I'm glad it isn't becoming so much of a debate now. This can Dom do it, can Dom not? Because he is showing his kudos a lot more. I mean, I've been watching Cherries for years, and I've seen so many strikers, either come through or not. And he reminds me of I know he's a midfielder, Harry Arter, but when Harry Arter started for us, he was miles off. His decision making was bad, and you were like, but I could just see it. I could see, hang on a minute, just be patient. And look what Arter became. And I feel the same with Dom. I just feel like he's got all the attributes, and it is a confidence thing. And he's definitely going to start spraying a few more goals in. Maybe not every game yet, but I sort of feel like every other game he's going to keep picking up that confidence, hold up play. He didn't have too much to do today. He was a little bit quiet, but the stuff he did do, he did well. He holds up the ball well, and his strike to goal ratio is improving. Well for the penalty again. He's always dangerous the way he moves around in and around the box, and that's he's going to be a crucial player for us. We need to keep him fit this season, that's for sure.
Definitely.
So I'll give him a 7.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and I think like you say, then forget he got the goal and he made the penalty. So both goals today, do you know what I mean? Big part of that. And in terms of what you're saying about a player coming in, and it's about giving him time and things like that, and there's a player in there, you can say the same for Diego Rico, and you alluded to it when we were talking about Lloyd Kelly. I think Diego's literally had one bad half of football against Reading when we were 2-0 down. We made the change, and then we come back, and he's still kind of feeling the punishment from that, really. Because at the end of the day, he came on today, walked on the pitch, got the ball, crossed it in, and got an assist. And I like Diego, and I think bar that 45 minutes, he's been pretty consistent. So I don't know what you think, but he definitely made an impact today, didn't he?
If we can sort of merge Kelly and Rico together as sort of Rico's offensive play and Kelly's defensive play, we'd have a worldly left back, wouldn't we?
Yeah, definitely.
I think what I like about Rico more is he suits our style of play more in that 4-3-3. I don't know what it is. I mean, he's like the Tinkerman now, isn't he, Jason Tyndall? What system we're going to play? But I prefer Rico a bit more because he's just a bit more natural on that left wing side, and he's a bit more progressive. He had a terrible half against Reading, wasn't it? I mean, he had a nightmare, but I feel like he's been thrown under the bus a bit since then. And I'd like you say, it's difficult to keep a player like Lloyd Kelly out. So he's got a nice conundrum there, Tyndall, isn't he? But he did well when he came on, Rico. I mean, he sort of hoofed that ball into the air for the cross, but he did well. Just sort of hit it, and we just got to cross the ball more, and it's something we're not doing enough of at the moment because a lot of the goals we are scoring are coming from crosses. So we missed Rico, and when he came on, he did well, and give him a 7.
Yeah, I think I agree again, mate. I think Diego's kind of what I will say about Diego is we look the most balanced when he's playing. So I think we kind of started the season with Smith at left back or left wing back because we were playing Stacey, and obviously he's right-footed, so it thought Smith always does a job, but he's coming in all the time. Then Kelly plays, it looks like a centre-back who's playing left-back, so he's doing a job. But when Rico's playing, you think it just looks a bit more balanced. So, yeah, I'd agree with that. I think I would, if everyone's fit and playing, I would definitely go with him. And even though we've got all them subs we're allowed to use, I think there was only one more, and that was Sam Surridge. I agreed at the time. I felt we needed to get someone up there and close to Dom. And Sam was obviously the player with no Josh King at the moment. And I thought he was a bit of a handful, but without doing too much, what did you make of Sam?
Felt like a bit of a cameo, didn't it? He didn't quite get into the game. Huffed and puffed a bit. He just needs a bit more game time. I feel a bit bad for Sam, though, because if you sort of take the game time he's had, in general, he's done well. Taken from the back of last season, the Arsenal game. He's been unlucky against Coventry, I think it was. Very unlucky not to score that game. He needs a bit more game time. Is he going to get it with King coming back? Maybe not. I feel a bit bad for Sam because I'd like to see him play more, but I don't think he's going to maybe get the opportunities he wants. So that lack of game time, I only really give him a 5 today for his contribution.
Yeah, and I find myself saying virtually exactly the same as you, Alex, in terms of, I want Sam to get more game time. But then if someone said to me, pick the 11, I'd never put him in it. So I can't argue too much, do you know what I mean? But what I will say is, Coventry was probably one of our best defensive displays, and he was up there. So he obviously had a contribution, albeit not scoring himself. And then he scored against Man City in the Cup, and I thought he looked really good in that game. Like you said, you mentioned Arsenal last season. So he's definitely he's definitely going to play a big part in the squad. But I think, apart from when we get into the FA Cup, I think he is going to have to settle, unless we have any injuries, for them kind of last 20 minutes of games. And that's going to be difficult for him. But I think all he can do is just knuckle down and try and make an impact. And what he will say today is, I come on at 2-1, and we ended up getting a point. I played against Coventry. We won the game. Do you know what I mean? So, in fairness to him, he's putting a shift in, but he can just do with maybe, if he gets a few goals off the bench, then he can kind of bang Jason's door a little bit more. But yeah, we didn't make any more subs, so we'll just get on to the gaffer. And I think, obviously, it's a difficult one in terms of he made a few changes. They're obviously forced in terms of having knocks. But I think what you got to say is he made 2 changes. When he made them, we were losing. They made an impact. Rico made the assist, so credit to him for that. But yeah, was there anything you felt he could have done differently today, or were you quite happy with how he adapted during the game?
The thing I like about Jason a bit more is he's not as stubborn as Eddie, is he, when it comes to sort of substitutions and changing the game and sort of taking a bit of a risk. He'd be a better blackjack player, that's for sure. But Roro, I'd like to have seen Roro a bit today. I don't know if it was the right game for him. But then what game is going to be right for him? If he's not going to come on Rotherham away. I thought he did all right. I mean, was the system right today? I mean, the best I think we played for the best half for me this season was the Birmingham first half. I think we played a 4-4-2 that game. I'd like to maybe see him settle on a formation a bit more. He's become a bit of a tinkerman, isn't he, Tyndall? I'd like to see him sort of settle on something a bit more. And there comes problems, doesn't there, when you're changing players. He did the right thing today. I don't think he did much wrong. I think it was more that we just couldn't handle the ugly stuff in the game, really. What do I give the gaffer? 6.5. There you go. Put half in today.
Why not, mate? Yeah, no, and like I say, I think he's on a bit of a hiding to nothing in the sense that when you're playing well like we did against Rotherham, he must be there like, I don't want to change anything. But the amount of games, got another game on Tuesday, another game on Friday, little knocks, he's got to manage that squad. If he goes and plays someone like a Lewis Cook today and he gets injured for a month, everyone's saying, well, why didn't you rest him if he had a knock? So it's really difficult. It's it's going to be a big thing for him to try and manage that squad. I mean, Jack Stacey the other day, he kept him on for one game where he took a bit of a knock, and now he's out for 8 weeks. So he's going to have to manage that squad. But like you say, I think there's always going to be a little bit of tinkering. What I was pleased with is he only made the couple today. In terms of Roro, I'm really split on it because I was the same as you. I thought, could we have maybe given him some minutes there? I know a lot of people have been saying it. And on one hand, I was like, he would have probably drawn a lot of fouls, which could have been a good thing. But equally, he's quite lightweight. He's quite slight. Would he have really struggled against that physicality? Potentially. I would have maybe got a little bit more with them kind of 10 minutes left, giving off a ball a go in the middle for Billing and seeing what he's about, because he's quite a physical lad. But yeah, it's one of them. And JT's obviously maybe looked at it and thought, probably wasn't the right game for Roro today. But as you say, when will be? I think we'll just see cameos from him and maybe a bit more from him coming up with the schedule. But quick prediction before you go, mate. Tuesday night, Preston at home, isn't it? So what's your...
today. They got stuffed today, Preston, didn't they?
Yeah, who did they play today? Oh, was it Watford today, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
they got a difficult couple of games, Watford and then ourselves. Quick prediction for you on that one.
I don't know much about Preston. I think they're sort of languishing towards the lower end of the table. I think they've had a few good results. It's this league, though, isn't it? We seem to do a bit less better against these bottom 8 teams, don't we? We don't seem to be able to sort of.
Well, I think when you play them teams, they're almost like, well, we'll definitely take a draw against Bournemouth. So they just set up defensive and know their fans going to accept that. Whereas when you play the higher teams, they go, oh, we'll go for it. And that suits us because then we can kind of catch them on the break. People like Brooks can get more time on the ball. So, yeah, it might be a similar sort of game. We'll see. But I think we'll have enough. What about you?
I think so. But I don't think it's going to be plain sailing. Let's say a 1-0. Let's say a 1-0 and Dom's gonna get a cracker from the 18-yard box.
Ooh.
There we go.
Look forward to that, mate. And if you do that, I'll be asking you. If we get that, I'll be well happy, mate. But cheers for coming on, everyone. Alex Hall Music on Twitter. We'll whack it all in. But make sure you check him out. And who knows, Alex? If this gets 50 plus likes, we might even co-write a Christmas back of the net Bournemouth song. I'm not ruling it out, mate. Are you?
He said it. There we go.
Not ruling it out.
First year, back of the net.
Cheers, Alex. Appreciate that, Alex, top guy. And let us know what you guys think. Do you agree with Alex's ratings and our kind of thoughts on the game? You'll see me again very soon because of the busy schedule. Even I'm tired, never mind the players. But no, listen, want a win we hope for, but we ain't going to win them all. Bit of a bad day at the office, but we grinded out a point. So I'm happy. We're still in them top 2 positions. And I'll see you again probably Wednesday after a victory on Tuesday night. Up the Cherries.
I know that things right now seem so